Good evening, students. Am I audible?
Good evening, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we will get started with the next chapter. So what are all the chapters that we have completed? We have seen so we have completed relations and functions, inverse trigonometric functions, matrices and determinants, then continuity and differentiation. Then we have seen an important part, application of derivatives. I think we have done enough number of assignments and we have had
We
enough
even did
discussion.
one more chapter, sir.
What is it?
We
We did linear programming also,
Yes,
right? Yeah.
yes, sir.
Yeah, we did linear programming also. LPP. That's right. So today we'll be starting integrals. Okay. So this is also a very, very, very important chapter and lengthy along with, I would not like to say this, but it's slightly tougher compared to derivatives because you need to pay more attention to this particular chapter. Okay. But by practicing a lot, you can definitely master it. Don't worry about it. So we'll get started with integrals. Okay. So for integrals, the other name is also called as antiderivative. So generally, what do we mean by anti? Something which is opposite. Right? So the reverse of derivative is what is called as integrals. So if you recollect, right? See, for example, if I ask you a question like this, what is d by dx of sin x? What will your answer be?
Cos x.
It is cos x. So derivative of sin x is taken to be cos x. Correct? So we saw a proof for it. Then we see. So how did we prove that the derivative of sin x is cos x? Nobody told us. We proved it actually. Right? I showed you the derivation. From where did we prove it? We proved it from somewhere with a concept called as limit h tends to 0 f of x plus h minus f of x the whole divided by h. You guys remember this? What is this called as? This is called as the first principle of derivatives. So using the first principle of derivatives, yes, we derived the derivative of sin x to be cos x. Whereas what happens in this chapter with respect to integrals is we don't have a derivation as such. It is all based on the results which we know in the case of differentiation. We will be doing a reverse operation to get back the integral of that particular value. Okay. So I would like to give you some introduction before we get into the details of formula. Listen to this carefully. Okay. So basically, whenever we see the word integrals, first thing that comes to our mind is what do we mean by integration? So what do we mean? What is the basic English meaning of integration?
Adding or something.
Adding of something. Combine. Okay. I'll take it. To put it in simple terms, yes, I can say call it as combine. So integration is basically that operation which is used to combine something. Okay, something. Combine, and if I have to speak more in terms of mathematical language, I will call it as adding up certain things. Adding up is nothing but summation. Right? But we already have a symbol like this. What is this called as? We call it as sigma. Sigma I is equal to 1 to n, something like this. You'll write x square or x power n, something like this. You will get a final result. You would have done all these things, right? This kind of a summation we have already done in our lower grades. Maybe in last year also you would have done it in the case of arithmetic progression, geometric progression, all those things. Right. So when integration takes the meaning of summation, and you already have a formula for or a symbol for summation and a solution for summation, why do we need to go for another technique? Right. So this is the first question we are supposed to ask. Anybody? Anybody wants to try?
First, for sigma, we'll just add a small number of quantities, but for integration, a large number of quantities are added.
Nothing like that. You can add. You can see for sigma, you can add infinite number of. 1 minute. So Nikhilesh, try to understand. It has nothing to do with small number of quantities. See, for example, have you heard of infinite geometric progression?
Yes.
So infinite number of terms, so that you can actually still perform that operation. You can still use sigma. So it has nothing to do with the number of terms. Someone else was trying to say. Yeah, please.
So we use it, integration can be used even for trigonometric values, whereas sigma can't be used for it.
Okay. Okay, your answer is actually right. Can you be more specific?
For very
I'm able
small
to-
values, sir.
Very small values in the sense you're saying when the number value is small, like 0.001, something like that.
Yes, yes, sir. Very, very small values.
Okay, very, very small values. Okay.
Like a
That's
point
what,
values. Like in physics, we use it for a point area, a point charge, and then we integrate it.
okay, 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 okay. But I think sigma will also solve that purpose. No? See, for example, I want to add 0.00000000001 and 0.000000002. I can still write it in terms of sigma.
So
I can
it's
still-
only useful for only the numbers?
Which one? Sigma? Wa?
Yes, sir.
Sigma is
You
useful
can
only for-
you can add the cos x. It can't be used for the adding of cos or tan x.
Okay, cos or tan x, what are these called as actually? You're using
Geometric.
the no. Cos x tan, no, trigonometric. Trigonometric what? What is the name of the third chapter that you have learned last year? Trigonometric
Functions.
functions. Okay. So I'll give you a hint. Yes, integration is something useful for functions. Okay.
So maybe summation you don't find the area under the curve, but for integration.
You don't find, Nikhilesh, can you please repeat? You don't
The
find.
area under the curve, right? And that's
Okay.
what you find in integration.
Okay, area under the curve, I accept it, but that is only for definite integrals. Maybe you would have learned that already. There is something called as indefinite integral also. We need to know what it means. Right. So, okay, you people good that you tried it. So I will try to conclude it. Sigma is generally used for discrete values. So what do I mean by discrete? Suppose I ask you the sum of first 50 natural numbers. Okay. So sum of what? 1, 2, 3, 4, so on till 50. If I ask something like this, then I can write it as sigma I is equal to 1 to n. I'll write it as xi, where x1 is 1, x2 is 2, x3 is 3, something like this. So you're adding 1 to which value? You're adding 1 to 2. You're not adding any number between 1 and 2. I hope you guys are able to understand. So if you take a number line, if this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, 1 is a discrete value, 2 is a discrete value. Correct, Ada? So between 1 and 2, how many values, how many real numbers can you find? If I put a question like this, what will your answer be? I'm asking you, define the number of real numbers possible between the two natural numbers, 1 and 2. What will your
Almost
answer?
infinite, sir.
Almost infinite. You can't conclude. If you come with some number, I will add 1 to it and I'll say I'll add 0.01 to it and I'll say there is another number like this. It's almost infinite. You cannot find it, right? Manually, it is not possible. Right? So when that is happening, if you need to add only the numbers 1 with 2, and you're not concerned about the numbers existing between them, then we go with the concept of sigma. Whereas when you deal with functions, what do functions generally happen? How do we represent a function? See, what is the best way in this world to understand how a function looks like? I gave you the hint.
Graph.
It is a graph, right? So when you draw it on a graph sheet, what will happen? X-axis, Y-axis. So if I draw some random graph, if I draw perpendiculars like this and perpendiculars like this, then what is going to happen, guys? For every corresponding value of X, there is a corresponding value of Y, which is called as f of X. Am I right? So like that, between the points A and B, if I ask you, define the number of such function values. Function value means f of X values that you have. How many numbers will you see? How many numbers will you say?
Way too long, sir.
It will be too large, no? Means if I put a question like this, give me the sum of all the function values that are there between A and B. Is it possible for sigma to solve that issue?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Obviously not, right? So to overcome that issue only, integration came into picture. Everybody understand? Okay. Later, it was observed that integration can actually help us to calculate the area under a curve, like how Nikhilesh told. It is used to calculate the area under a given curve with respect to one of the axes. I'll not call it as x-axis or y-axis. All those details I'll tell you later. But I hope you guys are clear with why we are doing integration. Is everyone clear? Integration is mainly applicable
sir.
for whom? Integration is mainly applicable only for functions. Why? Because when you talk about the functions, functions take continuous values, guys. So what is the opposite of discrete? It is something continuous. Discrete values, continuous frequency distribution values, right? So opposite of discrete is continuous. So when you have continuous value, there are infinite number of values that will get generated. So to add all those values, if you need a mathematical tool, and that tool is what is going to be integral, and integral is represented by the symbol like this. You can call it as an elongated S. Okay. So integral looks in the form of an S, which is extended vertically. I hope you guys are clear with this. So basically, integrals are classified into two types. Can you tell me what they are? Integrals are classified into two types. One is called as indefinite integrals and definite integrals. So name itself is telling you something, right? Definite. See, definitely this will be the answer. Means what? You are sure about something. So definite integrals are something which have a proper limit associated with it. Means you will have, you know where, you know the values between which you're supposed to calculate the integral value. See, for example, if I write sigma xi and sigma I is equal to 1 to n xi, which one is a definite summation?
The second one?
The second one. Why is it definite? Because you have a clarity of what are the limits of it. So I'm clear. I need to start with one. I need to end with some number called as n. Whereas in the first case, I don't know where to start and where to end. I don't know what they're asking us, right? But still, that operation can be performed. It exists. So if there is nothing like this, but I'm just trying to give a name. If this is called as indefinite summation, and this will be called as definite summation. Similarly, indefinite integrals will have an elongated S without the limits, whereas a definite integral will have an elongated S with the limits, where A is called as, any idea? A is called as?
Lower limit.
Very good. A is called as the lower limit and B is called as the upper limit. Okay. So the 7th chapter is integrals and the 8th chapter is applications of integrals. Like how you learned derivatives and applications of derivatives. We have integrals and applications of integrals. So in applications of integrals is only one task. Whereas in, see, derivatives, how many applications did we learn? We learned the concept of rate. We learned the concept of increasing and decreasing function. We discussed about tangents and normals, maxima, minima. All these things we discussed because integrals has a lot of applications. Sorry, the differentiation has a lot of applications. Whereas when you talk about integrals, it has only one application. What is it? It is used to find the area under the given graph. So in this world, if at all you need to find area of some irregular shape, then the immediate thing that needs to come to your mind is definite integrals. Okay, I'll show you how to do all those things. Don't worry about it. But is the basic part clear, guys? If you're clear with this, I'll get into the context of how to solve problems. Is there any doubt?
Yes, sir.
No doubt. No doubt? That's good. Okay, I'll proceed. See. Now I'm going, as I told you, integrals are the reverse operation of derivatives. Or I can say reverse operation of differentiation, right? See, if I have d by dx of f of x, where f of x is the original function, then if I get capital F of X as the answer for the derivative of it. Am I clear? Now what I can do is I can do a small manipulation. Derivative of F of X, this dx, I will take it to the other side. I will write it as capital F of X dx. Okay. Here on the left hand side, what is the extra parameter that I'm able to see which is blocking my F of X? It is D, right? So whenever you need to eliminate the derivative of something, the reverse operation is what you need to perform. What is it? You integrate. So look at the way I'm going to write. Integrating on both sides. I will write integral of d of f of x is equal to integral of f of x into dx. Okay. Remember something like this: integral and derivative are the counter operations of each other. So what I'm trying to say is, for example, integral of derivative of x, what will the answer be? Integral and d will get cancelled, answer will. So integral of d of sin x. Integral and see, you cannot. Okay. Yeah. Sin x is right. See, literally, you should not sit and cancel integral and d. I'm just telling it as a symbol. That's it. So they are the reverse operations of each other. Okay. So what will you get? You will get f of x is equal to integral of capital F of x dx. But what kind of integration did you perform? Indefinite or definite?
Indefinite.
You perform indefinite, right? So whenever you're doing some indefinite integration, you remember you should always add a constant to it. You should always add a constant. The reason is very simple. Okay, the reason is very simple. Derivative of f of x can be capital F of x, or derivative of f of x plus c can also be capital F of x. Because what is derivative of f of x, capital F of x? Derivative of c is c, because c is a constant. Correct? So since indefinite is something with no clarity, it is always advised to add a constant to it. And the constant is found using the what do you call it as plug-in values. Is found by using the plugging in values. That is, they'll give you a value of x, put it in the value of x, and get the value of c. When I do the problems, I'll explain. Okay, but remember,
Sir,
whenever you
doubts,
please tell me.
so shouldn't RHS also be plus C, sir, if you're adding it in the LHS?
No need. No need. Because see, whenever you integrate something and get the value, function value on the right hand side, when you differentiate the right hand side, you should get back the value which we integrated. I'll explain it. Okay, listen to this carefully. So we are going to see the set of formula now. D by dx of x power n is what? Okay, I'll put a question like this. D by dx of x power n plus 1 by n plus 1. What is it? You know how to differentiate. See, n is a constant. Take that 1 by n plus 1 outside. Derivative of x power n plus 1.
X power n.
Is x power n. Okay, it will come out as x power n. Now, derivative of x power n plus 1 by n plus 1, can I write it as x power n times dx? Now, if I integrate on both the sides, what will I get? X power n plus 1 divided by n plus 1. I will add a constant, will be equal to integral of x power n dx. So going forward, if you integrate the value of x power n, what are you going to get? You will get x power n plus 1 by n plus 1. That is the meaning of it. Okay. So this all you need to observe in the reverse direction. So this is the first formula. Integral of x power n is what? X power n plus 1 by n plus 1 for all values of n except minus 1.
Sir, can you say where you took n plus 1 as constant, sir?
Where? Hey, how do you
Here, sir.
differentiate? X power 3 by 3. What will you do? You
The
take that 1 by
dx. Yes, sir.
So it will become 1 by 3 into 3x square. So 3 and 3 will get cancelled. What is it? It is x power.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Got it? Yeah. So derivative of sin x, I'll add a c itself. Derivative of sin x plus c is cos x. So what will be the integral of cos x dx? See, one more thing, guys. Whenever you're writing integral, right, along with the function, you need to write this differential coefficient value. That will only tell you with respect to which value you are integrating. Means you are integrating x power n with respect to x. That is the meaning of it. Sharia. So if you write only like if somebody asks what is the integral of cos x, you should, the immediate question you need to ask is you are integrating with respect to whom. So integral of cos x with respect to dx has a value. Integral of cos x alone is a meaningless question. So integral of cos x dx is what? You guys tell me. I skipped certain steps.
Sin x plus c.
Sin x plus. Okay. So how to validate whether it is right or wrong is whatever answer you have written here. When you differentiate this, you should get back the function which you are integrating. So derivative of sin x is cos x. So derivative of integral of cos x will be sin x. Third, derivative of cos x plus.
Sir, I have
minus
a doubt,
x.
sir.
Please tell me.
Sir, why should we always add constants, sir?
Because you're doing indefinite integration.
Okay, sir.
Since you're doing indefinite integration, you don't know what value you differentiated to get that integral. See,
Okay,
what
sir.
I'm trying to say is derivative of cos x is minus sin x. Accepted. But what is the derivative of minus cos x plus 5? This is still minus sin x. What is the derivative of minus cos x plus 6? It is, sorry, derivative of cos x plus 6. It is still minus sin x. Means if you differentiate any function whether it is cos x plus 0 or cos x plus 6 or cos x plus 5, you're getting the same final output. Means when you differentiate multiple function, when same output is coming, when you integrate that function, you should get multiple inputs, right? So the reverse operation should also exist, no? So integral of minus sin x would have come from cos x plus 6. Integral of minus sin x would have come from cos x plus 5. We don't know what it is. That is the reason why we keep adding a constant. Only because you're doing indefinite integrals. Whereas for definite, we will not add a constant. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. So what will the integral of sin x be?
Minus cos x plus.
Minus cos x plus.
Minus cos x plus. Okay. Fourth. What is the derivative of tan x plus c? It is secant square x. So what will the integral of secant square x dx be equal to?
Tan x plus c.
That's it. Fifth one. What is the derivative of? So to make this simple, right, what I will do is derivative of minus cos x plus c is plus sin x, so that you will not be confused. So derivative of minus cot x plus c is what? It's cosecant square x. So integral of cosecant square x dx will be equal to minus cot x plus. I hope you guys are able to understand till this point.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So please make a note till here, then I'll show the remaining parts from the textbook.
Sir, all these are formulas, sir.
Yeah, you have to remember, no? Not
Yes,
like
sir.
you can sit and derive it, okay? All these are formulae. I'll show you the set of formulae that is there in the textbook. Please make a note of it.
Okay, sir.
So let me read out the phrases, the meaning of it. So how do you read it? Integral of f of x or integral of f with respect to x. So that is why I told you this dx is important. So when you write this f of x is there. No, this f of x is called as integrand. Okay. This x, whatever is inside this bracket, is called as the variable of integration. Then integrate. So whenever they are put a question integrate, then you need to find the integral. Means you need to do that operation and find the answer and tell. And integral of f. So a function such that f dash of x is equal to small. Okay, let's forget about this. So integration means what? Integration means the process of finding the integral. So I'll say integrate and tell me this value. Means you need to do the integration operation and tell me. So constant of integration, any real number c considered is considered as a constant function. So you're adding a c to every value, that is called as the constant of integration. So the term I wanted you to know is integrand and how to pronounce integral of f of x dx. That is integral of f with respect to x. Okay. So these are all the formulae that I'm trying to talk about, guys. Okay. So this one we have already seen. So derivative of x is 1. So integral of 1 will be x plus c. So integral of dx is equal to x plus c. How to remember? I told you integral and derivative are opposite of each other. You will get x plus c. Okay. So integral of, so derivative of sin x is cos x. Integral of cos x will be sin x. Derivative of minus cos x is sin x. Derivative of sin x will be minus cos x. Okay. Similarly, derivative of tan x is secant square x. Derivative of integral of secant square will be tan x plus c. Derivative of minus cot x is cosecant square x. Integral of cosecant square x will be minus cot x plus c. So derivative of secant x is what? Secant x tan x. So integral of secant x tan x will be
Secant x plus
c. Okay. Similarly, derivative of minus cosecant x is cosecant x cot x. Then integral of cosecant x cot x will be minus cosecant x plus c. Okay. Next. Integral of, derivative of sin inverse x is 1 by root of 1 minus x square. I hope you remember all these things. So the integral of 1 by root of 1 minus x square will be sin inverse x plus c. As I told you, there are no derivations as such. It is all about the reverse operation of whom? Reverse operation of whatever you did for derivatives. Similarly, derivative of minus cos inverse x is 1 by root of 1 minus x square. Derivative of 1 by root of 1 minus x square can either be, see, this is where you might get confused. Observe. Integral of 1 by root of 1 minus x square can either be sin inverse x or it can also be minus cos inverse x. They both have the same value. So you can ask me, sir, how is it possible? So if I write sin inverse of x plus c, okay, listen to this carefully. What is the relation between sin inverse x and cos inverse x? So sin inverse x is nothing but pi by 2 minus cos inverse x. I hope you remember this, right? Because sin inverse x plus cos inverse x is how much? Pi by 2. Correct? Huh? So this pi by 2 plus c, can I call it as some other constant? I'll call it as k. So integral of 1 by root of 1 minus x square can either be sin inverse of x or minus cos inverse of x. Similarly, derivative of tan inverse x is 1 by root of 1 plus x, 1 by 1 plus x square. Then integral of 1 by 1 plus x square is tan inverse x plus c. Derivative of minus cot inverse x is 1 by 1 plus x square. Then integral of 1 by 1 plus x square is minus cot inverse x plus c. Okay. Then derivative of secant inverse x is 1 by x into root of x square minus 1. Then integral of 1 by x into root of x square minus 1 is secant inverse x. Similarly, derivative of minus cos inverse x is also 1 by x into root of x square minus 1. So if you observe, for all the inverse trigonometric function, you will have the same integrand value, but the output will be different. That is, integral of 1 by 1 plus x square is tan inverse x or minus cot inverse x. So you're able to understand? Similarly, derivative of e power x is e power x. Integral of e power x will be e power x plus c. Similarly, derivative of log of mod x is 1 by x. Integral of 1 by x will be log of mod x plus c. Then derivative of a power x divided by log a is a power x. Then integral of a power x dx will be equal to a power x divided by log a plus c.
Sir, C is a constant, no, sir. But how is it defined, sir? Like, what value should we substitute in the question, sir?
They will tell you in the question. They will tell you based on that only you will find it out. You need not worry about what is value of C. You need to be clear only about the function. C is not your headache.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
So I have a doubt, sir.
Please tell me.
Sir, so we should keep in mind only the integral part, sir. The derivative
that's
part we don't have to keep in mind.
No. Derivative part you need not see. Since today is the first class, maybe I explained it with the derivative and integral. This part you need not remember at all. Only if you forget something, then this will help you to understand.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Suppose there is a question: what integral of 1 by x 1 plus x square dx? Suddenly you don't remember. The exam hall you got stuck. Then what are you supposed to think? Then you need to recollect the derivatives. Then you will start thinking, derivative of which function would have given me 1 by 1 plus x square?
Tan x.
So tan inverse of x. Tan inverse of x plus c. That's tan.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay. So this left hand side is only to help you when you forget something in the example. But right hand side is more important. As you keep practicing, you will get it. But this chapter, you need to sincerely practice, or else it will become a nightmare. I'll tell you. Telling you.
Okay, sir.
See, the geometrical interpretation of constant of indefinite integral is what they have shown. We are adding a constant, right? See, for example, see, suppose you have y is equal to x square minus 3. What is the derivative of it? dy by dx of x square minus 3 is 2x. Similarly, derivative of x square minus 2 is 2x. X square minus 1 2x, x square 2x, x square plus 1 2x, x square plus 2 2x, x square plus 3 is also 2x. Right? That is the derivative operation. But what is the knowledge we have from the applications of derivatives? Why do we differentiate something? To find the slope of a tangent. Correct? So if you take a particular point, if you take a fixed point and draw a vertical line, try to understand this. If you take a fixed point and draw a vertical line, then you will get the value of x. Okay. At that fixed point, if you draw a tangent to all these curves, then what will those tangents, what will be the slope of all those tangents?
Same.
They will be the same. See, for example, that point is x is equal to 2. If I substitute x is equal to, I'll get 4. So I'll get the slope of the tangent 4 here, 4 here, 4, 4, 4, 4, and 4. So that is the meaning of the geometrical interpretation of indefinite integrals. Now, I hope you understood why we are adding this constant. So how to find that constant? It is not your headache. If they ask you the question to find the constant, then they will give you some information based on which you can do it. Don't worry about it. But as I keep repeating, the only point that you need to remember is you need to remember the function value. Constant, we can derive it according to the problem. Okay, next. There are some properties related to indefinite integral. Okay. So first thing, we need to understand that the process of differentiation and integration are inverses of each other in the sense of the following rules. So derivative of integral of f of x dx is equal to f of x. Okay. Similarly, integral of f dash of x will give you f of x. Okay, that's what we had been discussing till now. Don't think much about this point. Only thing that should be there in your mind is integral and derivatives are the reverse operations of each other. Second is, two definite integrals with the same derivative lead to the same family of curves, and so they are equivalent. So if f and g be two functions such that derivative of integral of f of x dx, okay, is equal to the derivative of integral of g of x dx. Then what we can do is, you can write d by dx of integral of f of x dx minus integral of g of x dx is equal to 0. Okay. So derivative of what function is equal to 0? By now we should have known. When you differentiate what kind of a function, will you get the output as 0? Only when you differentiate a constant function. Okay, so integral of f of x dx minus integral of g of x dx can be a constant function. So what will be the integral of f of x dx be equal to? It will be integral of g of x dx plus. Okay. Suppose there are two functions which are added with respect to each other, and you need to find the integral of that value, then you can find the integral of each function separately and add them. Okay. Fourth, if k is any real number, if you multiply an integrand with k, then that k can be taken out and f of x dx can be integrated separately. For example, integral of 2 sin x. So 2 can be taken out, integral of sin x dx. What will the answer be? 2 times. Now we need to think on differentiating which function will I get sin x?
Minus cos 6.
Correct. So minus cos x plus, that's it. So don't remember this like symbol C, okay? There is some constant, can be C, K, lambda, L, M, N, whatever you want, you can write. But you just write saying that there is some constant. Okay. So the fifth property is a combination of third and fourth. So K1 times integral of F1 of x, K2 times integral of F2x. So if there is a function like this, then what you can do is you can take K1 outside and integrate F1 of x separately, take K2 outside, integrate F2 of x separately, keep on doing it. Okay. Write an antiderivative for each of the following functions using the method of inspection. Method of inspection is you will think in the reverse. See, there is another way to find also that we'll learn in the next exercise. As of now, let's not rush. Let's go slowly. There is no hurry. Okay. Now, what they are asking is find the antiderivative. Antiderivative in the sense integral. Okay. So integral of cos 2x dx is what? Is what they're asking. So what is the answer? Now tell me one thing. On differentiating which function will you get a cos?
Sin
Sin.
x, sir.
Fine.
Sin of. You have a 2x here. Right. So what should I write?
That
See,
x will come.
Square, sir.
Not square. It is sin
2x only, no, sir.
It is 2x only, no square. Okay, see, the reason I stopped is because the argument is an important factor. So what I'm going to do is, since they told use a method of inspection, I will recollect. I know that on differentiating sine, I will get cos. If I need 2x, I need to integrate sine 2x. Sorry, differentiate sine 2x. If I differentiate sine 2x, what will I get? I will get 2 cos 2x. Did I get my question? Cos 2x is there. But what are the extra tail that is there for the cos 2x?
Two, sir.
It is this 2. I don't need the 2. Okay, for that, what I will do is d of sine 2x is equal to 2 cos 2x into dx. Am I clear till this point? So I took this dx to the other side. D of sine 2x is equal to 2 cos 2x dx. So if I integrate on both the sides, what is there in our mind? Integral and derivative are opposite of each other. Sine 2x is equal to, this 2 can be taken out, 2 into integral of cos 2x dx. So 2 will come to the other side. What will be the answer? Integral of cos 2x dx will be equal to,
Sin 2x by 2.
2x by 2.
and add a constant. That's it. But since they asked only antiderivative, we can leave with the function. Okay, means if you differentiate sine 2x divided by 2, you will be getting cos 2x. So this we found using the method of inspection. You can ask me, sir, is it this stuff every time? No, because there is another method which we'll see in the next exercise, which will simplify the process. So don't worry about it. As of now, we are going slowly. Okay, next. 3x square plus 4x cube. See, this one is a simple problem, so I'll go with direct method itself. Integral of 3x square plus 4x cube dx. How to solve this? So we can apply the fifth.
3x cubed by 3 plus 4x to the power 4 by 4.
That's right. 4x cube dx. Can I write it like this? This is according to the third
Yes.
property. I can take 3 outside. 3 into integral of x square dx plus 4 into integral of x cube dx. So 3 into integral of x square is x cube by 3 plus 4 into integral of x power 4 is 4 x power 4 by 4. Cancel it. Cancel it. What will be the answer? X cube plus x power 4. That's it. Right. Next. So they're asking what is the antiderivative of 1 by x? On differentiating which function will you get 1 by x? You can directly tell
Log x.
Log.
log of mod x. When you differentiate log of mod x, you're going to get 1 by x. That's it. Find the following integrals. So this is an interesting one. Integral of x cube minus 1 divided by x square. What should I do? So I see one thumb rule with respect to integration is as far as possible try to eliminate the denominator. Okay, if you are able to get rid of the denominator, that integral problem will become easy. So this will be integral of x cube by x square minus 1 divided by x square dx. Correct? So x cube and this are gone. Integral of x dx minus integral of 1 by x square dx. So what is integral of x dx, guys?
X square.
By 2 minus
X square.
integral of, yes, integral of 1 by x square. So you can write it as integral of x power minus 2 dx. Apply x power n plus 1 by n plus 1 and tell me what is the answer.
X power minus 1 by 0.
1 by x.
You will get minus 1 by x. Because derivative of 1 by x is minus 1 by x square. Correct? So derivative, I hope you got this. X power minus 2 plus 1 by minus 2 plus 1. X power minus 1 by minus 1. So minus is outside. Minus of x power minus 1 minus 1 by x. I hope this is clear now.
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Okay. So x square by 2 by plus 1 by x Let's see. See, generally when they ask you to integrate, add a constant. When they just ask you what is the antiderivative, don't add a constant. That's it. Okay. Next one is also simple. Can you guys do it fast and tell me?
So I said 3 by 5 into x power 5 by 3.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
3 by 5 into x power 5 by 3 plus
Plus x,
C.
plus x.
Plus
x plus c.
Yes, correct. So you will get 3 by 5 into x power 5 by 3 plus x plus c. I hope everybody got this. Now do for this one. X power 3 by 2.
I have a doubt, sir.
Please tell me.
So you said integral of a constant will be 0, right, sir?
No, integral of 1 is extra. Integral of 1 dx is equal to integral of dx only. Integral and derivative are opposite of each other, so it will be x. So there is a
When
formula.
will an integral give 0, sir?
Integral never gives 0 unless you have a 0.
The question if it was 0 instead of 1, then it will be 0, sir.
Yeah, then it is 0, yes. But generally they'll not ask you something with 0. No? See, if I can read this question like this 1 plus 0. But generally that
Okay,
0
sir.
nobody will give. Nowhere integral will become 0.
Okay, sir, I understood.
Understood? Yeah. So x power 3 by 2.
2 by 5 x power 5 by 2 plus
1 minute. 3 by 2. How much will you get? You will get 5 by 2. So, tell me 2 by 5.
2 by 5 x power 5 by 2 plus
Correct.
2 e power x minus log mod x plus c.
Plus c.
Correct. Okay, so if I'm not wrong, most of the mistakes will happen only at this point. Okay, most of them will write it as 5 by 2 into x power 5 by 2. No, that is not the thing. It will become reverse. Whenever you have a fractional value, it will become the reverse of whatever you have in the power. So 2 by 5 into x power 5 by 2. That is how you remember, okay? Now we will go to the next. Find the following integrals. Integral of sin x plus cos x. Integral of sin
minus
x.
cos x.
Yes, integral of sin x is minus cos x. Correct? Yeah, correct. So minus cos x plus sin x plus integral of cosecant x into cosecant x plus cot x. So this will become integral of cosecant square x
Secant
dx
square x.
plus integral of cosecant x cot x dx. Can I write it like this? So derivative of which function will give you cosecant square x?
Minus cot
Minus cot x.
Minus cot x. Okay. Plus derivative of which function will give you cosecant x cot x?
Cosecant
cosecant
x.
x.
Is it not minus cosecant x?
Yes, it's minus cosecant x plus c.
Okay. So don't make this mistake. For MCQs, it's a very costly mistake. Okay. So next one, third. Integral of 1 minus sin x divided by cos square x dx. So what we can do is, I told you one important point. What is that I told you? Whenever you're doing
Okay, denominator.
get rid of the denominator. So if you need to get rid of the denominator, 1 by cos square x dx minus integral of sin x by cos square x dx. So 1 by cos square x, integral of secant square x minus integral of
Secant x tan x.
Secant x.
into 1 by cos x dx. This is tan x minus this one is what? Secant x into tan x. Derivative of which function is secant x tan x?
Secant
secant
x.
x.
Secant.
So integral is tan x minus secant x plus. I hope I'm clear till this point, right? Everybody is confident till this.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Mithun, I hope this question will answer your question. Okay, listen to this carefully. Find the antiderivative capital F of the given function small f defined by f of x is equal to 4x cubed minus 6, where capital F of 0 is 3. Okay. Find the antiderivative capital F of this function. Means integral of f of x of dx is capital F of x. This is the antiderivative. That is the meaning. Am I clear till this point, guys? Now
Yes.
see, integral of what is the integrand? It is 4x cubed minus 6 times dx. So integral of 4x cubed minus 6, what will it be?
X to the power 4 minus 6x c.
Plus a constant. Correct? So this should be the value of capital F of x. Am I clear, guys? So
Yes.
in this question, they told find the antiderivative confidently because they've given you f of 0. Or else what they would have told is integrate and leave. So generally, whenever they say antiderivative, they expect you to write the function alone. So capital F of 0 is 3. Means I will put 0 in the above expression. I'll get 0 minus 0 plus c is equal to 3. Am I clear? So I'll put 0 here, 0 minus 0. C is left out is equal to f of 0. But what is f of 0? 3. So c is equal to 3. What will the answer be? Take c is equal to 3 and substitute it here. X power 4 minus 6x plus 3.
Plus 3.
Now you understood how to find the constant. They will give you in the question. Whatever information they give you, based on that, you have to find it. Okay. Next. Next is this exercise. This exercise 7.1. We'll solve 1 or 2 problems. Oh, time is not there. Okay. This will start tomorrow. So in the meanwhile, so I'll not suggest you to sit and practice at home. I'll do it in the class. So as of now, you keep revising the term and portions. In the class, keep listening to the term to portions. But ensure you're attentive in the class so that most of the problems are solved in the class itself. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Secondly,
Yes,
with
sir.
respect to term 1, maximum by tomorrow or day after tomorrow, you will get the schedule of how the tests are planned and how the revisions will go on. You will get it in 2 days. Okay, please wait for it.
Okay, sir.
Okay, that's it. So there is no doubt we can find it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.